Today's lesson is over comparing and ordering rational numbers. So let's look at our number routine for today. Can you alike and different? Can you write down two ways these numbers are alike and two ways these numbers are different? So let's do alike. The rational numbers. What are rational numbers again? Rational numbers are any numbers that can be written in fraction form. I see a fraction 7/50th. Can this decimal 14 hundredths be written as a fraction? Yes, 14 over 100. Alike. Aren't they equivalent? Let's see. I heard myself say this is 14 hundredths. Can I simplify 14 hundredths? I believe I can simplify it to 7/50th. So 1400 is equivalent to 7/50th, which is equivalent to 1400 decimal 4 and 750. So they are eating. And now how are they different? One is in fraction form, one is in decimal form. They use different numbers. So that's how you can say it. So let's look at our do now. Winona is 2 3/12 the height of her little brother. Express this mixed number as a fraction. So as a reminder, let me get my pen. This 2 3/12 is a mixed number. Is really you're adding 2 to the fractional form of 3/12. So 2 plus 3/12. So let's find the decimal form of 3/12. Can 12 go into the hundredths place? It cannot. So we're going to have to divide this. 3 divided into 12 groups. So another way to rewrite this fraction as a division is 3 divided by 12. Some students have a hard time memorizing how to read this, so they need to use Taibo. Top number goes in, bottom goes out. I just think I have a 3, I'm breaking it down into 12 parts. 3, breaking it down to 12 parts. Can 12 go in 3? 0 times. What's 3 minus 0? 3. How can I rewrite 3 without changing its value? I put a point 0. I bring down to 0. How many groups of 12 go into 30? 2 groups, which is 24. So 30 minus 24 is 6. Add another 0. I bring it down. And how many groups of 12 go into 65 groups? So it's 25 hundredths is equivalent to the fraction 3/12. Wait, doesn't 3/12 simplify? Couldn't I have renamed that as 1/4? You could have. So 2 plus 2500 is 2 and 25 hundredths is the decimal form. Sorry for the chicken scratch. So, as a reminder, how do you turn a fraction to a decimal? Some people like doing it out of the tenths place or hundredths place. Some people like dividing. It is your option. So, this is a number line. What do you remember about a number line? It goes from least to greatest. In this number line, we have 0 in the center. We have negative numbers to the left, positive numbers to the right. So it goes from least to greatest. So think about it. This is counting up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and this is counting down -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, So this goes to one whole. This goes to -1. So in other words, we're going to be using decimal. So this is going to be like 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10. So 1/2. What is the decimal equivalency of 1/2? 5/10 or 50 hundredths. What is the decimal equivalency of -1/2? -5/10 or -50 hundred. Hopefully you should have memorized that by now. If you go to the store and something is half off, that's 50% or 50 hundredths. Or you have $1 and you divide it into two groups. Each group will have 50 cents. So find the equivalent decimal and plot it on this number line. Our first fraction we're going to be working with is 7/20th. So find the equivalent decimal and plotting. So it's your option. Do you want to break it to tenths place or to hundredths place? I'm going to do it to the hundredths place. Can 7/20th go into the hundredths place in decimal form? Yes, I multiply the 7 and the 20 by 5 and I get 35 hundredths. And how do you say that in decimal form? 0.35. Some of you may not like that way. You may just want to divide it. So just say 7 is divided into 20 groups. So I have 7, I'm dividing it into 20 groups. How many groups of 20 go into 7? 0 times. So 7 minus 0 is 7. How can I add a 0 without changing the 7 value? 0.0. I bring it down. How many groups of 20 go into 7? 70, 3 groups, 20, 40, 60. 70 minus 60 is 10. Let's get rid of this remainder. Add another 0. I bring it down. How many groups of 20 go in 100? 5 groups. So the decimal equivalent is 35 hundredths. It's equivalent to 7/20th. So 7/20th is equivalent to 35 hundredths. Where would you find this in the number line? I would find it right here. It comes after 0, it's to the right of 0, but to the left of 50 hundredths. So 7/20th. Next one. Find the decimal equivalency of 7/8. Can 8 go into a hundredths place? It cannot. So we're going to have to divide it. It's 7 divided by 8. So we have 7 divided into 8 groups. Can 8 go into 7? I don't think so. So that's 0. 7 minus 0 is 7. How can I rewrite 7 without changing its value? Add a 0. How many groups of 8 go into 70? 8 groups. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, and 64. Sometimes I don't really memorize my multiplication. I just count through multiples. 70 minus 64 is 6. Get rid of that 6 remainder. So add another 0. How many groups of 8 go into 60? 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56. That's the 7th multiple of 8. 60 minus 56 is 4. Are we done yet? Is this going to repeat or is this terminating? Let's try one more just to see. So far I don't see any deja vu or repeating. 40. Oh, it goes in 5 times. Yep, we're done. So it is a terminating decimal. That means it eventually does stop. So the decimal equivalency of 7/8 is 875 thousandths. So 0.875 thousandths. Where would this go on this number line? Some round this to 88 hundredths. So if we round it, then it would go somewhere right here. We know it's less than 1 whole because this number is less than 1 whole. It's 0 and 875,000. So I know it's a little before 1 whole. So it goes right here. Or you can turn all of these into the thousandths place. So this would be 350 thousandths, and this would be 500,000, then 875,000, 1 whole. Next one, we have the fraction 5/6. Can this 6 go into the hundredths place? I don't think so. So we're going to have to divide 5, divide it into 6 groups. Can 6 even go into 5? 0 times. It cannot. So we have 5 left over. So how can I change 5 without changing its value? How do I add 0 without changing its value? Add a 0.0. Always forget a decimal point. How many groups of 6s go into 50? 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 30, 36, 42, 48. That's 8 groups. 50 minus 48, or 50 take away 48 is 2. Add another 0. I bring it down. I wonder if this terminating or repeats. How many groups of 6s go into 20? 6, 12, 18. That's 3 groups. That's 18. 20 minus 18 is 2. Add another 0. Hold up. Didn't we just do this a few seconds ago? How many groups of 6s go in 20? 3 groups. It repeats. Deja vu. It repeats. So, what number is repeating? The 8, the 3, or 83, the 3. So I could say is, what, the decimal equivalency is 8300 with the repeating bar notation on top of the 3, or I could write it like this. It's up to you. So 5, 6 is a repeater. Where would you find this? Well, we know in the thousands place it'd be 833, so it has to come right here. So 5, 6. So far in our number line, looking at the positive numbers, it goes from 0, 720, 1 half, 5, 6, 3, 8, from 7, 8, from least to greatest. What if we jump negative into this? Dun, 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 dun. Same thing, but you're just putting it on the left side of the number line, left of 0. So can 11 go to 100's place? I don't think so. So it's -4 that's divided into 11 groups. So let's divide this. 4 divided by 11, or -4 by 11. So put a negative sign here so you don't forget it. Can 11 go in 4? No, 0 times. So that's 4. Sometimes I really don't put this negative here. I'm going to erase that one. I mean, you can leave it there, but it's confusing me right now. So I'm going to erase that. So I'll just think it's 4 divided by 11, and now I'll stick the negative because it's the opposite of. All right, let's continue on. All right, how do I change 4? How can I add a 0 to 4 without changing its value? Add a 0.0. I bring down the 0. How many groups of 11 go into 43 groups? That's 33. 40 minus 33 is 7. Add another 0. Bring down the 0. How many groups of 11 go into 76 groups? 70 minus 66 is 4. Is this going to repeat or terminate? I don't know. Let's do one more. Add another 0. How many 11 go into 43 times? That is 33. I just felt like we've done this before. That's 7. Wait, 40, 47. Oh, it's a repeater. What number's going to repeat? The 3, the 6, the 3 and 6. It's the 3 and 6. So it's negative 36 hundredths right here. And this repeats. So let's think about it. Where would it go on this number line? Let's think. If we're counting backward, 0, negative 100, negative 200, negative 300, negative 400, negative 2500, negative 27, negative 20, negative 50, negative 75. So it would go right here. Negative 36. Repeating bar notation. And what was that? Negative 4 11th. So that goes right here. Negative 36. Repeating. And last but not least, we have the fraction, the negative fraction of negative 1/5. So can this go into a hundredths place? Yeah, it can. A hundredths place. It even can go into the tenths place. How many groups of 5 go 100? 20 groups. So it'll be negative 20 hundredths. How would you write that as a decimal, negative 20 hundredths? Negative 20 hundredths. If you want to, you can divide this to show it is. So that's 1 divided by 5. It cannot go into 1. So 1 minus 0 is 1. How can I add a 0 without changing its value? Add a 0.0, not just a 0, 0.0. How many groups of 5 go into 10? 2 groups. So it's negative 2 tenths. I can affix a 0 or negative 20 hundredths. So let's write that down. Negative 1/5 is equivalent to negative 20 hundredths. Now this is a true test of where does it go on the number line. Let's see, if I start at 0, I'm counting backward. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 20. Wouldn't negative 20 hundred be to the right of negative 3600? It would be. So that negative 1/5 goes here. And this will be negative 20 hundredths. So we are done here. Let's look at our number line now. Going from least to greatest. If it's to the left, it's less. If it's to the right, it's greater. So negative 50 hundredths, then negative 3600, negative 2000, negative 3500, negative 5000, negative 8300, and negative 875,000. We could round out to negative 88 hundredths. Or negative 1/2, negative 4/11, negative 1/5, 0, 7/20, 1/2, 5, 6, 7/8, and 1. So, we're not going to do this one, but here listed different football players on the Houston Texans. Can you rank them from greatest to least? I would like to talk about this one. Attach each number onto the number line card and then order it from least to greatest. So, negative 1/2. Well, I know this is going to be on the negative side. Let's see, this is 0 right here. This is to the right, positive. Left, 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 positive, positive. So one of these would be, well, I don't know. I think I can't tell. It's either this one or this. No, it's this one right here. This is negative 1/2. That's the halfway point of 0 and negative 1. So I think it goes here. Let's do it with a negative 1. Since negative 2/3 and negative 3/5. Which one would go to which? All right, so negative 2/3. If I divided, if I did 2 divided by 3, it would be repeating. Do you know the decimal equivalency of it? I memorized it. If I divide 2 divided by 3 groups, 2 goes inside the division bar, 3 you're dividing it, so 3 goes on outside. It'll be negative 66 hundredths. Negative 66 hundredths. So it would be this one. So that and would go here. Negative 3/5. If you divide 3 divided into 5 groups, that will be negative 60 hundredths or 6 tenths, which is equivalent to 3/5 or 60 hundredths. Next one. All right, we have 3 left here. So 75 hundredths. Isn't that closer to 1 whole? So it must be this one. And we are left with 1/3 and 3/8. If you divide 1 divided into 3 groups, think about it, you have $1 and you have divided into 3 groups. That'd be 33, 33, 33. We have 1 left over. Oh, it's going to be repeat. So it's going to be 0.33 repeating. So that would probably be this one. And 3/8 is 3 divided into 8 groups. That'll be 0.375 or 375,000. Isn't 0.375 is greater than 0.333? So 375,000 is greater than 333,000. So it must be this one. So now let's put it from least to greatest card. So start with the negative. So this one is farther to the left. So that'd be negative 66 hundredths. Repeating. Negative 60 hundredths. Then negative 50 hundredths. Then least to greatest. This would be 3,300 repeating. 375,000, repeat, no, that's terminate, and then 7,500. So this is the study of how to compare and order rational numbers. Again, rational numbers are any numbers that become written in fraction form, decimal, whole numbers, integers. And in a number line, it goes from least to greatest. So you turn these fractions into decimal form to help you answer this question.